All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paul Vato Presents. We are simulcast live on YouTube and Twitch. So I'm just waiting for my guest, Steph Clark, to come on in. Let me also adjust our portrait. Like what it's called talking about. Well, if you join us live on Fireside, you can see what I'm talking about. Hey, Jimmy, welcome, buddy. Just waiting for Stephanie. Pop in. Let me invite everyone. 355 followers to the show. Let's see if Stephanie is in that phone. Folks, if you're just joining us, my name is Paul Vato, and this is Paul Vato Presents. My guest today is Steph Clark. She's a comedian, an actor, does stand-up comedy. She's very funny, and I'm looking forward to chatting with her. That's it. She's married to Tom Clark, also a comedian, whom I may or may not know. Stephanie, welcome. Let me invite you up. There is music playing. The music will turn off shortly. And I'm going to invite you to video as well. Let me turn off my camera. And on video. Stephanie, invite to video. Yay! Oh, what happened? We lost you. It worked there for a second. Well, Stephanie is here. Let me welcome. Let me stop the music. We did it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paul Vato Presents, where my guest today is Steph Clark. She's a comedian. She's an actor. I think you might be a writer. You're all of the above. You are a triple threat that is maybe even a quadruple threat. Who knows?
Yeah, I threaten. That's what I do. I'm a big
You are
threat.
very threatening. And that's the reason you're on the show, is because you threaten me. And if I didn't have you on, there are some bad things going to happen. So I'm like, you know what? I better have Steph Clark on. So thank you for being here.
You're a wise man, Paul.
It is my absolute pleasure. I'm such a big fan. And then for you to come on my show, I really, really appreciate it. So thank you for taking the time to do this. I think I'm a little sneezy, so I'm glad that we're social distancing, but just in case, I was at a big event last weekend and I'm like, oh, did I not protect myself enough? But this is great about Fireside, is we can do this like this.
That's right.
Unlike Clubhouse, where it's just audio, we can actually get to see each other. So thank you.
Thank you. And I downloaded the app. I'm a challenged millennial, but I managed to download the app, and we're here.
I love it. And I saw you pop into the room earlier when I was interviewing Lincoln Hope, who's an improviser and actor and whatnot. So thank you for supporting. And that's what Fireside is all about, is watching other people's shows. And then hopefully, if you're inspired and motivated, maybe you too can apply to be a content creator, because if you and Tom want to do something here, or just you, or you and I, as long as Tom doesn't mind, maybe we can do something here on Fireside.
I call those shots, but I am pretty busy with my pyramid scheme, but I can maybe try to figure it out and have a... Just kidding.
We will have to address that, because I know that you are a big advocate. Is it an anti-advocate? What are you when it comes to MLMs?
Right. They call it the anti-MLM movement. So anti-multi-level marketing movement.
Wonderful. So I better not talk to you about Amway or any other MLM company here. This was the long con. I just wanted to get you on so I could talk to you about that.
I knew it. Have you ever been in a MLM?
No. I mean, throughout my years, I've been offered hundreds of times. I think when you're an outgoing person, when you're a salesman, or maybe they just go after everybody. And I'd like to dive into that because I feel like you would probably know a lot about that. And I feel like maybe when I was in my early 20s, I may have, but I remember I never like paid because people thought, I think they had a lot more faith in me and they're like, I'll pay for it. Like, I'll get you to join, and then, but it's like anything else, I would assume. It's either a scam or it's a lot of work. I mean, because nothing is easy. When e-cigarettes first came out, M-Life, was it called M-Life? I forget what it was called, but I remember, and that worked okay, but because they were so new, you could sell e-cigarettes for $10, $12, $15. So there was quite a markup. And
yeah, you see people selling them on the street.
What's that?
You see people selling those on the street.
Yes. Yeah. So this was like 12, 13 years ago. So it was new. You'd walk into a club. They're like, sir, there's no smoking in here. You're like, I'm not. This is vapor. And that's just a red light at the end. So it was new. So I think I did that, but it was never like a business where I invested a lot of time or money. And maybe that's why I was never successful. Can people actually become successful? MLMs, do you think?
I think when they start, excuse me, when it starts and you're at the top of the pyramid, then yes, but it's not very ethical to be involved in any because you're just kind of making money off of everyone else on your downline.
And that's the thing too. I think I've always used that as an excuse too when somebody's like, will you join this program or whatever? And I'm always like, well, I think it's too late. I'm like, if you get me in at the beginning, at the top, I would love to. I'm willing to sacrifice my ethics to maybe make a lot of money. And I've always felt though that, I don't think all of them are bad because I feel like it might be a decent way to sell products because it is, one-on-one. I mean, because isn't like Avon maybe and Amway, aren't they considered?
They're all bad. They're all the same.
They're all the same.
John Oliver has a great episode dedicated to this topic, all about pyramid schemes, and it's all the same structure and format. They're all the same. They try to act like our pyramid scheme's different. It's all the same. Yeah, they're all the same.
Sure, and because I remember even going back to college where where they called it an airplane. Still it's built like a pyramid where there's a captain or the pilot, co-pilot, and then, flight attendants and then passengers. It was basically just a way to filter money to the top and then they'd break off. But, and even back then I was like, it's not sustainable. There's, if you start it, yes, otherwise, no. So I'm glad that there are advocates out there that are exposing people, right. So, and I know you've been a big proponent of exposing MLMs and schemes like that. So thank you for looking out.
I try. And then I have like my fake one I called Tales of the Crypto. And I saw that's like a show on here on this app. I was like, what?
Well, no, that's my show.
That's your show?
Me and Victor Ramos, KAC. We're calling it Tells from the Crypto because it was going to just be like, what's the tell? Like what's going on this week in crypto? We just we're going to start it today. But
because I have a fake one, an MLM fake one called about crypto.
Tales from the Crypto. I love it. I love it. We went with a double pun, but that's all right. Well, maybe we can have you come on Tells and maybe we can do some kind of fight on there. Like ours is real. You're like, mine is real. Whatever. I don't know.
That's awesome.
I love it. Great minds think alike. It's right. Comedic there. Wonderful. So, who is Steph Clark? And I would like to figure out how we know each other. Is it just from social media, or did we actually hang out at the I.O., or did you do improv, or have you always mostly been stand-up? Or am I friends with Tom?
I was asking my husband, Tom, I was like, how do we know Paul? And he was saying back in, what's it called? whoa, what's the Andy Samberg thing he used to be a part? Oh,
Channel
101.
101.
Channel 101, that you're a big advocate for getting paid. And I was like, oh, hell yes. I'm all about Paul then. Like,
I don't
right,
remember that. Wait, what happened now? Okay.
you were asking for money. Like,
Sure.
he said you were a big advocate of asking to get paid. Like, you were the only one asking. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, yes, Paul.
I don't even remember that, but it would make sense. And it wasn't even for me. I'm guessing I wanted my fellow actors to get paid because, it's you are putting in time and money. But then again, nobody was making. I don't think anyone was making money, and we got to hang out with people like Andy Samberg and Sarah Silverman and Jack Black and whomever else was part of Channel 101. So that was a lot of fun. I was in Classroom. I think it was called Classroom. Was the kind of the hit that I was out. I played Grotto, this like gangbanger, which was a lot of fun.
Was this on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, but it was live. So it was on next to Improv Olympic on Hollywood Boulevard. I forget what the venue was called. And it was, I believe, a monthly competition. It couldn't have been weekly. I think it was monthly, where you would basically do a pilot, a short pilot, and then people would vote on it. And if it got enough votes, you would come back for, you'd get to do your series. But every week was, you were on the chopping board. So every month, I'm sorry. So every time, we pitched Classroom. We had a pilot. People loved it. Then we went forward. So we got to do episode 1, then episode 2, then episode 3. But shows like Yacht Rock came out of there. I think Drunk History, Derek Waters, Drunk History. I believe that was a Channel 101 show. So it was this concept, and hey, we get drunk and tell history stories, and then all of a sudden it gets picked up, and then he actually ended up selling it to Comedy Central or whomever he sold it to. So I remember that it was fun, and it wasn't because a lot of it was I wasn't doing all the work. I was just an actor, so I could see where I was kind of like, yeah, come on, guys, we got to rally, we got to get paid. I don't remember that. That's so funny.
Yeah, because I remember Tom did some sketches, and then they're on YouTube, and it's like, oh well, I'm sure there was some money in that. If it was like probably right around the start of YouTube with.
And it was, but maybe it just, if anything, it motivated me and inspired me to do my own thing. Cause I did with my ex-wife now, we did a show called The House Sitter where she would house sit for you, but only if you were a famous celebrity. So we started out, we did Dave Faustino, who's Bud Bundy on Married with Children, and Wendy McClendon Covey, from the Goldbergs and Reno 911 and Bridesmaids, and Drew Droege, who's like improv famous. People that know comedy and improv probably know who Drew Droege is. And and Mo Collins. Mo Collins from Matt TV, and now she's on Fear of the Walking Dead. So it inspired me to do stuff like that. We did a show called Keep It Green, which was, again, with my ex and Shelley Pack. And they actually ended up getting hired by Discovery Channel for their new channel called Planet Green, and they were the Keep It Green girls for a show called G Word. So I think doing Channel 101 was inspirational and motivational. Did Tom remember what shows he did?
He showed me some funny sketches. I don't remember offhand. I don't remember what they were, but he did a bunch of different, Channel 101 sketches.
Sure. So that's that. You know what? That's exactly then where I met Tom, and of course I've been a big fan of his comedy and his stand up. I remember there was another great show from like people like in Wisconsin. You know what? It was once a month because I think they'd come out.
Wives?
What's that?
The improv group with Dan Harmon. Tom was a part of that too.
Oh, well, of course. Dan Harmon and Roiland, Justin Roiland, who created Rick and Morty.
Which I've been starting to watch. Isn't that crazy? I haven't watched it before. Like, I just started watching it this week, and I'm obsessed with it.
I feel horrible. I've never watched it. I should probably watch it.
So funny. Oh my, it's really good.
Okay. I'll have to watch. I call myself a comedian, and then I don't even support my friends' work, so I should probably watch it. There was a great documentary on Dan Harmon, also called Harmontown.
Yes.
Yes.
Crazy. Crazy.
But that's exactly how I know Tom then, is through channel 101. And that, yeah, so much fun. There was, because I remember that there was even some people from Wisconsin who would submit, I think, they'd mail in the DVD or whatever, and it was Darth Vader's brother, like Chad Vader or something. It was a funny premise, and they kept making more and more episodes. But it was, it was fun. You'd have a month to come up with a new episode, and then if you got enough votes, you would continue and you'd make more. So it was a great way to put your stuff out there, and it was kind of coinciding with the birth of YouTube 15 years ago. So
right. Yeah.
And then and maybe that's how I even got on the Sarah Silverman show. Rob, who directed for Sarah Silverman, I think we met on Channel 101. So when Eddie Pepitone wasn't able to do the chef at Romansky's Diner, that's when I got the opportunity to do it.
Stepped in, took charge.
I stepped in. I mean, Vato Romansky, come on, look at me. Of course I'm a Romansky.
Right, with your cigarette vapes on set, ready to sell that on the side.
That's it. How did you meet Tom?
So I met Tom. I was in grad school, and part of grad school, my advisor was teaching a writing for performance class. So we did a field trip to the Ha Ha. That was the first time I ever did stand up. I went to the Ha Ha, and I just fell in love with comedy. And then a year later, I was still doing stand up, and then I met Tom at a bar show in Thousand Oaks. And he just was so funny and blew me away. And my mom at the time, my mom goes to all the shows, and my mom was there. And I went outside because I smoked cigarettes at the time, and I was smoking. And then Tom called me out when I walked back in. He's like, "Oh, your daughter's out there smoking." And so I met Tom the same night as my mom met him. And then they did like karaoke together. It was so funny. So I met Tom at just a bar show.
That's amazing. So he was instantly like approved by mom, I'm guessing, and instant approval.
Yes, mom loves Tommy.
That's wonderful. That is cool. Where did you grow up then?
I grew up out in Agoura, California, Oak Park, and we live out here now, and I love it. It's about 30 minutes north of LA, so it's great. It's just so perfect. Instead of like living in Hollywood and having your car stolen, it's nice to like not have to worry about that.
It's wonderful. Is that where Canyon Club is? Agoura? Is it Agoura Hill?
Down the street, yep. Canyon
Club. Yeah.
And then I produce a local show out here at a brewery at 14 Cannons Brewery every month. We get really great comics, and we've been doing that for over 4 years because I've just kind of learned to do I've learned to do my own thing, because you really cannot depend on anybody in this business. You have to make things happen for yourself.
That's exactly it. And this is, you said, I'm sorry, a monthly show, and then where can people find out about it?
If they go to my company's Funny Girl Events, funnygirlevents.com, and I have all my shows on there that I produce, and really trying to grow that and do a bunch of shows at wineries, breweries, and country clubs, and just keep it going, getting hilarious women on stage. This business, as you know, does not go out of their way to book hilarious women. And so I've taken that upon myself to make sure we get as many women booked as possible on our shows.
That is fantastic. I'm entering the information below you. It's called a little fortune cookie, funnygirlevents.com, so that people can just click on it.
Yeah.
And it'll take them right to that website. That's amazing. And you're 100% right. It doesn't go out. I think you said it correctly. You said it perfectly, which is the industry doesn't go out of their way to be inclusive and do that. So I'm glad that you're doing that. And then your show in Agoura, is it mostly female women, or is it, are you open to anybody doing stand-up there?
It's like an equal balance, I give priority bookings to women, but yeah, it's definitely like guys are on their show too. And, I found that it can be where a lot of women don't reach out to get booked. So I just try to keep saying how important that is whether you reach out to my show or whatever town and city you're in, you need women need to be more aggressive about asking for what they want in this business.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So how long have you been doing stand-up now? It seems like it's been, 12?
Yeah, about 10 years or so. I'd say the last 4 or 5 years, I've been more active with like the first half of that was not like going up, a couple times a month. Wasn't very active in stand-up now, and half of it now, the time is spent doing comedy for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell me a joke. No, I'm kidding.
Someone did that on the radio. I was like, no, oh gosh, okay, it doesn't sound that good.
I know it needs context. You need to, I've done your set, but even I get that, and I'm like, I don't do stand up. I'm an improviser. I do sketch, and then I'm kind of like, well, what are they, what are they going to say? Well, then improvise something. Like, well, I need my teammates. I need my members of my ensemble.
Yeah, you need the vibe. You need the lights off, like a whole thing. I remember when I would bartend. And I would just they would keep asking me, and I just wouldn't say a joke because it doesn't come out the same.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I never do, but for 30 years I've been I should just memorize a few good jokes, but I can never remember a joke until you tell me a joke. If you tell me something, then that will usually spark, and these are just dumb jokes, but I can never off the top of my head just think of a good joke to tell. I've got this mental block. So I think one of these days I'm just going to start writing them down and be like, okay, let me just read you a joke, I guess. Because, but that's horrible.
But we've all had that, after a show, right after a gig, and then somebody tells you some internet hack joke, and then you're just like, and it's so long, and you're just like trying so hard to listen. At least for me, I'm just trying so hard to listen and try to tell where to laugh.
I'm supposed to laugh now. Okay, got it. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. What I read, your bio, and it said self-deprecating comedy. Is that your forte? What kind of comedy do you enjoy doing? What kind of stand-up do you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I'll try to throw in some stuff. I feel like it's always so good to be vulnerable and make fun of yourself and not take yourself serious. I think that's my favorite type of comedy. I like silly and when I watch comedy, I like high energy, but then I also like really dry and set up punchline jokes. So I like a variety of style. But for me, I feel like I'm still, even though I've been doing it 10 years, still trying to figure out my voice and who I am on stage at times, if that makes sense.
Of course, that makes perfect sense. And I think I've always used that as an excuse I've always wanted to do stand-up, but it's always like, well, I don't have a voice or I don't have a point of view, which I think is very important. But I think it takes forever. I mean, you just have to be so comfortable on stage like you would be chatting with your mates and then still have this point of view or have this voice. So no, it makes perfect sense. And I'm sure that you do have it. Other people think that you have it, but now it's up to you to decide.
Right. And I think we're always changing, and especially after the pandemic. And I think your point of view changes, and we're always evolving. And so, sometimes I like being political on TikTok, and that doesn't really play well with the opportunities I get for live performance. Like I like doing impressions of Lauren Boebert on TikTok, and that's really fun for me. And it gets aggression out that I feel of what's going on in the world, and I'm able to do that. But those aren't the opportunities I get for the audiences we have when I'm traveling. Oftentimes the venues will say, don't do politics. And if I'm getting paid, then I really can't. So I'm different in different atmospheres, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And that the fact that, I think we know that, and you know that as a business person too, because if you're getting paid, then you're kind of at their behest and you have to do what they want, besides entertaining people and being funny, you kind of have to follow the rules there. If it's your own thing, then, all bets are off. You can do whatever you want. So no, that makes perfect sense. And I think more artists and comedians have to be more business minded, which, you are, you seem to be. So absolutely. Do you and Tom work together? I know that you guys had a show called, was it The Clarks?
Yeah. So we had a web series, The Clarks. We haven't been doing it, the last year or so, but we had fun working together on that. And performing wise, we did a fun show at the Improv for this nice guy. He produces a show called Couples in Comedy. So that was maybe the first time where we did our sets, and then together kind of you can roast or toast each other. And so that was fun, being in the moment with Tom and performing together. So yeah, we want to do more of that. Performing together, mixing stand up with improv would be really cool. Like, he teams up with my friend Lauren Pritchard. I don't know if you know Lauren from Mad TV and Disney, and she did a lot of. She was on the Sarah Silverman show too, but she's very big in the improv world. So like they do their show together. So like, sometimes I feel, Tom is on a different level with the improv. He's been doing it 25 years.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can keep building and getting there so we can do more of the interactive stage time together.
Where is Tom from? Where did he grow up?
He's from Milwaukee.
Did he do the Chicago improv scene? I mean,
yeah. So he did. He did Comedy Sports, and he did Second City, and then Dead Alewives with Dan Harmon and Eric Price, who was also on Mad TV. So I don't know many comedians like him that can do stand up and improv both really well. There's not that many.
I think improvisers might find it a little bit easier to become stand-ups or to do stand-up than vice versa. So it takes a very talented person to be able to walk that line of both improv and stand-up.
And improvisers, in my opinion, are nicer people. They're willing to work together. They listen. Stand-ups are very egotistical. Not always, but I think improvisers are nicer.
I would have to agree 100%. And maybe that's just the nature of the beast. You're up there doing stand-up. You have to be egotistical. It's just you,
right.
Unless you're working with a partner, but then you're still one entity. Whereas improv, it is about exactly that, listening and working well together. And most of the people that I interview on Paul Vato Presents, I shouldn't say most, a lot come from that improv background. And those interviews are always just flow really well because we're used to doing that. We're used to listening and then interjecting and building and moving forward. So I would have to agree with what you say. Yeah. Well, maybe we can get you and Tom on here.
Oh yeah, Tom would love to do it.
Yeah. We can have you guys come on and do your show here, and I'm sure you guys could share a lot about being comedians, being married, being a couple. Now, did you guys toast or did you roast each other?
I roasted and he toasted.
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. It was really fun.
I love it. I love the roast battles. I love that, but especially when it's a couple, because you're so intimate. You know each other's secrets that you can really destroy each other with the roasting. So that's wonderful. What are you working on now? What are you working? Any special projects or just doing your monthly show?
Yeah, doing a bunch of stand-up, and I'll be at pretty much local Southern California gigs because travel costs are insane right now. But yeah, so local stand-up comedy shows right now, and figuring out maybe, we have a podcast together called I'm a Rescue, where we interview people that have gone through, like everyone has a journey and have gone through different things in their lives. So we interview all different types of people for that, and we have some that I need to post. It's hard to get back on the podcast game after, it's a labor of love.
It really is. And then that's why I'm kind of so happy that I discovered, Fireside here, because it really makes it easier for me, because it's so enjoyable to do it with video. And then people can always come back and replay it, but I can also download it, cut off the, any choppy parts, the front and the end, and then upload it as a podcast and boom. So it probably takes me less than an hour, but even that, it's a lot of time when it is a labor of love. You're right, because no one's out there going, I'll give you $100 million for your podcast like they did to Joe Rogan. So it's right.
I love the live aspect of this. This is cool. people like watching it live. They feel a part of it, you know?
I think so. And that's kind of the whole premise of Fireside, is that the audience also becomes a creator, because you hear applause or you hear laughs and things like that. So it's as close to in person and live as you can be. And then it's all saved and you can play it back, including the video, or take the audio out and just put it up as an audio podcast. But I'll put it up on Anchor, and then it goes to Spotify, and on Spotify, the video plays, and it's kind of a new thing for them, I think, within the past month. So I think they're really promoting that. So I think it's the perfect storm right now with audio podcasting, audio, social audio, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that you figured it out, that you came on and you were able to do this.
I'm very challenged with the apps. I'm like, what am I paying for?
But that's right. Why did you think you had to pay? Did it when you install it, does it say like you're buying it or something? I was like, oh no, where does it say that they're...
When you Google it, it says, yeah, there's payment of $10 a month, but not when it was being installed.
Oh, interesting. No, because maybe it's a different Fireside. Because I know that there are other Fireside apps. I don't know what they do, but no, there is absolutely no charge to be on Fireside. So just so everyone knows that. Now, if you guys want to, you know what, you should send it to Paul Vato at Venmo. Oh, and for anyone that's listening to this, please make sure that you follow our guest, Steph Clark, and she can be found at StephClarkComedy.com. And then, of course, Instagram /StephClarkComedy. There's also FunnyGirlEvents.com. And then for me, you can just go to PaulVato.com, and I've got a list of all my social media there. And if you could please go to Apple Podcast and Spotify specifically, both of those, and find Paul Vato Presents, and then give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. And if you leave us a review, that helps. And the first 8 weeks, they say, is the most integral part of a podcast life. Or, for me, it's season 2. So if you could go there and just hit a few likes, hit a few shares, it would really help us out. So, Steph, your podcast, I remember listening to it. I love it. Where is it? On all platforms?
On all platforms. Yeah, Anchor, and then all platforms for I'm a Rescue podcast.
It's such a great title. I love the title of I'm a Rescue. And how many episodes do you have up, approximately?
Probably close to 100, I think. Yeah, we've done it off and on. We've had some really great guests. Had the flight attendant, the JetBlue flight attendant that said to F off to everyone and then went down the emergency exit. I know him because I waited on him when I worked at this barbecue restaurant, and I was like, "You're a hero of mine." And he was so sweet, and we stayed in touch, and then he did our podcast. So he was Steven Slater's his name.
Had he already done that when you waited on him, or it was just happened to be the same guy?
He had just done it, and then it was a few months later that I was waiting on him, and I went up to him. I was like, "You're my hero," and he was so sweet.
Oh my God! Yeah, that is so funny that he did that. Any other memorable guests that people should look out for on I'm a Rescue?
Oh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We've had some great actors, and Camilla Cleese is great. John Cleese's daughter. Sure. Is awesome and talks about how her recovery and all of that. Just a lot of people, we all have different stories of what made us us. And like, you never know what somebody is going through. So like, we just try to have just honest conversations to find out, what.
Did you have a story of recovery? And is that something you'd want to talk about, or am I?
Oh, sure, yeah. I've had a lot of recovery things. I'm a big mess. No, I lost my dad when I was young, when I was 11. So in high school, I struggled with eating disorders, and I struggled with substance abuse, of drinking, and I've been sober now for 2.5 years. And I didn't do the AA because I don't like how religion is tied to AA. So there's just different things have done to stay sober and sane. I like to do mock cocktails and like look at inspirational pages on Instagram. I find that comforting. So yeah, so I went through all of that, and I feel great today. Not, drinking can really, I'm not one and done type of girl. Like I'll drink the whole bottle of wine and then whatever tequila is left in the house. So it feels good to not have to rely on that and be healthy today.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Well, I always say it's like, why buy half an airplane ticket? So I'm kind of in that same boat that there is no, let me just taste that. Don't get me wrong. The first few sips are like, oh yeah. And then it's like, then you're slamming, next, you've blacked out, at least for me, so it's better to just stay away from it than have to worry about, and then the older I get, is just, the actual physical recovery is just, so I'm glad that we're on the same path there.
It's so hard. It was to travel and feel like crap. It just takes a toll on your body. I can't do it.
Wonderful. Well, wonderful. And I'm glad you have Tom by your side, and it sounds like he's supportive and whatnot. So
yeah, he's a good guy. He'll have a beer. He likes Hefeweizen and like sweet beers once in a while, but he's not a big drinker either.
Wonderful. Well, that's great. When is your next show that you're hosting in Agora, and what's the venue?
Yeah, so our next show, we're usually the third or fourth Thursday of the month. Next one's June 16th at 14 Cannons in Westlake Village at 7. And we have Darren Carter, the party starter. Do you know Darren? He's headlining.
Rooster?
What's that?
Rooster? Does he go by Rooster?
No, I don't think he goes by Rooster.
Is he a redhead?
Yeah, well, he used to be. He's bald now, but
I think I've known Darren for 20 or 30 years. And I believe he used to go by Rooster or Little Rooster or something.
Oh, I have to ask him.
I asked him if it's got to be Darren Carter. I'm almost sure. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, okay. So
yeah,
Darren Carter.
I like my women like I like my coffee. Like that's his shtick.
With big tits? No, or is that something else?
Probably. Who doesn't like big tits?
Well, and then you look at your coffee, you're like, well, you can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
And who else is doing your show? If you don't mind sharing that,
we have Eric Escobar on that one too. He does improv. He's a great guy. And then we're going to be at Rava Wines in Paso Robles, up by San Luis Obispo. Beautiful winery. And I have Bernadette Pauly on that show with Brian Kiley, who is a head monologue writer on Conan for over 20 years. And we have KT Tatara on that show, and Audrey Stewart, who's so funny, who's a newer comic, but is such a force on stage. Really good. It'll be a really good show.
Wonderful. Do you drive up to Paso Robles, or do you?
Yeah,
how far is it from?
About 3 hours from us.
That's right. Yeah, I did a cigar event. I'm almost sure it was in Paso Robles. Okay. They used to do something called Crush and Roll. So it was a wine and cigar event, and I was one of the cigar guys there. And it's such a beautiful part of the state, and with the wineries, and I traded a lot of cigars for a lot of bottles of wine, and it was amazing.
I love that. Are you doing the cigar thing, right, in Vegas?
In Vegas, that's right. Yeah, I'm mostly wholesaling and selling to my regular customers. So yeah, it's Vato Cigars for anyone that's interested. But
yeah, send my buddy Al, my friend Al Ducharme. Do you know Al? He's a comic he was Anthony on F is for Family, Bill Burr's show, but he was just in Vegas. I should have sent him out to you. He's a big cigar guy.
Oh, wonderful! I'd love to meet him either way. And it's everyone that you mentioned for your show. It's these are all excellent stand-up comedians. I mean, Darren Carter and Eric Esteban. Is that? I mean,
Escobar,
yeah, just really funny people. And so I'll have to get out there. I'll have to come out and support and watch your shows, especially if it's closer to LA, like Agora.
Yeah.
But I would also love to head up to Paso Robles. When is that show?
June 17th, Friday, June 17th.
Wow. Okay, so they're both coming up.
Beautiful winery. Like one of the nicest wineries I've ever seen. It's insane. We're very lucky.
And these people know how to party. I mean, we went to an after party and I'd never seen so much wine. I was like, are those empty bottles? No, all full bottles, completely covering like a kitchen table or, like a dinner table.
Right.
And then I looked underneath and then there were boxes stacked underneath of more wine. I was like, oh my goodness, I mean, it was,
They ride horses and drink and party.
And that's their business. So it's like, here, let me give you a bottle of mine. Oh, let me give you a bottle of mine. And, here's some port or, port style wine. And so, yeah, it was a nice mix with the cigars. I mean,
there's some really cool wineries. We just were out in Fresno County, Squaw Valley, up in the mountains, and this really cute, quaint winery. Just California is so beautiful, and there's so many. Besides when we have our fires, that's not so beautiful. But California is a great place to live. We love it out here.
And that's why when people complain about the traffic or whatever, I'm like, well, then stay home or move to Iowa. I don't know where. I mean, because of course it's busy. People want to live here. I mean, I'm in Vegas, but in LA, just great weather, and you have mountains, you have the sea, you have the ocean, you have, some days you can go skiing one day and hit the ocean on the same day. It's crazy. So, I mean, it is a wonderful place to live.
Yeah, we love it. I'm trying to get to do some shows in Vegas, so I'll keep you posted on that too. Please
do. I'm if you're at all interested, I can always at least introduce you. No promises, but I can introduce you to Joaquin and Matt, and they own LA Comedy Club, which is in Vegas at the Stratosphere. Or my friend Joe Stapleton, who does commentary, and I've interviewed Joe. He does commentary for the World Series of Poker, and I don't think it's monthly, but he does a show every so often at the Space in Vegas, which is more of a venue away, not that far off the Strip, but off the Strip. So if you put something together, or you and Tom, or you and your crew, let me know and I can introduce you to those guys.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And my buddy, do you know Americal? He does guitar. He has residency, I think, at the LA Comedy Club on Tuesdays. If you're ever around, check him out. He's so funny.
I'll check him out. I'm not familiar with him. I don't think. I interviewed Butch Bradley, who is the headliner at LA Comedy Club. So it's becoming a small world. And if you don't mind, I'll add you to our Instagram group, which is just people that I've interviewed on Paul Vato Presents. And maybe you guys can network and connect with each other, because I think it's a pretty strong group on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll do comedy and cigar night. That's what's up.
But no drinking.
Yeah. Well, you show people how to roll the cigars too?
I have. I've done it for events. I used to get hired to do when they were doing in-person events like conventions or whatever. I could sit at your table and roll cigars, so it brings people over. And it's a little deceiving in that it's mostly rolled already. The filler's already been done. I'm mostly putting the wrapper on, but that's also pretty impressive. I mean, if I had to roll a whole cigar, I could, but just putting the wrapper on is pretty impressive. And then that they're able to smoke it almost right away. So yeah, I can definitely also show people how to do that.
I love that. I love combining things. Like we used to do paint and comedy night, where we do a short stand-up show, and then it's in one of these little paint studios. And those are always really fun. I just like combining different things that shouldn't be combined. I think that's fun.
I love that. I mean, that's the way also a great improv mind works. It's putting two things that are opposed together, an elephant and a trampoline, or, I don't know, something like that. But I enjoy doing that as well, putting together things that don't belong. And that's wonderful to do a stand-up show and then they get to paint and probably have wine.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
So what's next for Steph Clark and maybe Tom Clark? But specifically, what's next for Steph? Anything that we should know about? And any final thoughts or anything?
Yeah, check out my stand-up comedy schedule, stephclarkcomedy.com, or Instagram. I always post my stand-up schedule, and I'll be touring all over Southern California, up in Northern California the end of August. We head out to Nebraska in the fall and in November, early November. So yeah, so if you want to book me on your show, love to do it. Connect with me, and whatever you got going on, let's make people laugh.
I love it. I love it. And Chris Rossetti in the audience says that he'd go to a nap and comedy show. So I think I think as long as it doesn't happen at the same time, it'd be good. But you know what? Yeah, let's do some comedy and then take a nap.
Yeah, it's a daytime thing. I love a good nap, a good afternoon hour nap. That sounds like an event I would put together.
I was so upset yesterday because I actually slept right through my nap. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Mexican joke. I don't know. Maybe I'm working on it. We'll see. Maybe you can help me with my stand up, with my shitty stand up.
I loved it. It was a nice, quick one liner. I like it.
There you go. That's all you need. Quick quick one liners. I'm gonna incorporate that into my show.
Yeah, check out Brian Kiley. He has the best one liners. He's going to be at that Rava Wine show. Check out his stand up. He's one of the best joke writers out there.
What's his name?
Brian Kiley.
Please make sure that you follow Steph on all of her social media, Instagram.com, Steph Clark Comedy, and StephClarkComedy.com, and also FunnyGirlEvents.com. And if you're on the West Coast, if you're by Agora Hills, by all means there, or if you're in Paso Robles, go check out her show there. Follow me at paulvato.com and all of my social medias there. And of course, please find our podcast, Paul Vato Presents, and follow it, rate it, share it, all that good stuff. So anything else, Steph? Anything else we should know?
Just do what you love doing, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't achieve whatever you want, because I think we get in our heads a lot. And so if you want something, just keep at it and be positive and be kind to those around. Sounds corny, but be nice, be kind.
No, I think that we have to leave on that, because it can't get any better. And that is such great advice. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for taking time from your busy day to be here. And this has been so enjoyable. And I can't wait to continue following your career and watching you do stand-up, you and Tom. So thank you for taking the time to do